What's up, everybody? It's Trip with Sailing and Such here on YouTube, and today I'm going to show you how all my gear fits in my kayak. This kayak is my Wilderness Systems Sealution 2. It's a 16.5 foot long kayak, and it has two different storage compartments, two different dry storage areas. One is in the bow, and one back behind me in the back of the boat. I'm not going to go over what each piece of gear is. This video is more geared toward just showing you how I pack things and where I put it. Some of the things you want to consider whenever you're packing your kayak is weight distribution and ease of access of different gear items. So what I try to do, I put all my rarely used and lighter items on the either the far forward or far rear, and all the things I use regularly and the heaviest things I'll try to put towards the center of the kayak. Like I said, my lightest stuff towards the front that I don't use very often. So in the front, I'll have my clothing bag and a dry sack, and I don't go through my clothes during the day much, because if I do plan on changing wardrobes, I'll usually keep that somewhere easily accessible. Another thing that I keep in a dry bag up in the front is I keep all my electronic accessories like my camera batteries and chargers and all that good stuff, because I typically, during the day, I'll be accessing the front hatch, because this is where I keep my food, and also I'm less likely to have anything strapped over the front of this front hatch, so it's easier to get in and out of, because I don't have to move anything to get to it. So I will keep my food up there, and I don't actually keep my food in a dry bag. I might keep a couple things in a dry bag, but generally I just have my food just kind of strewn out everywhere in the front of the kayak, and I have everything, you know, packed out of all the paper and anything that might get soggy or nasty when it gets wet, or either everything is in a good Ziploc bag. But I normally just like to just have it all thrown in there, because it takes up less space, or actually it conforms to the space better in a dry bag, and it's easier just to pop it off, pop the hatch off, and to get what I want and, you know, be done with it. I'm not too worried about it all getting everywhere. It generally stays in place pretty well. Speaking of food, that reminds me of something I need to go over in a future video. Is how I pack all my food and what I pack, and yeah, how I pack it. We'll go over that in a future video, so subscribe. In the actual cockpit of the kayak, I generally don't keep a lot of things. You know, I'll be wearing my PFD, and I may have a water bottle or something kind of tucked behind my seat, but the main thing that I carry, or maybe a snack or something, but the main thing that I carry in my cockpit is right behind the seat. I have a dry bag, and I may have, you know, a few things in here that I want access during the day, like an extra camera battery, or you know, I have my first aid kit in here, maybe a hat. I've got some, you know, a flashlight, you know, maybe just the things that I may want to access, like maybe in an emergency situation, something like that, like a fire starting kit and things like that. I usually keep in the cockpit with me. And I also have a carabiner on my dry bag, and I have some method of hooking it to the kayak, and just in case I do flip over, so I don't lose it. And also I have like a sponge and a baler in the cockpit with me as well. In this kayak, the rear storage compartment is a lot larger than the front compartment, so this is where I keep the bulk of my stuff. Now, starting in the back, I've got my rain jacket slash windbreaker. Here I've got my sleeping bag and underquilt for my hammock. And then coming forward, I have my Grilly Put Quattro grill. I usually just stuff it down in the bottom somewhere, because it's, you know, nice and straight. It stores really easy. And I have my little stainless steel cook pot, my hammock, my tarp, a bug net slash pillow, my pack towel. It's just some baby wipes, and all this stuff will just be tossed in there however it falls. The main stuff that I strategically place is under here. You can see I have my MSR dromedary water bladder bag. I always keep that in the bottom, in the center, and as far forward as possible. Then on top of that, I'll put a few water bottles and a couple Gatorades. And then just on top of that, somewhere I'll usually have a few links of cord, and I have my spoon. It's just thrown in there. My knife just thrown in there. Some sunblock, my gear hanger, a saw, some tent stakes. I use the sand stakes generally because I'm either on the beach or on the riverbank. And my awesome trio chair. some bug spray, and some fishing tackle. Not that I know how to use it, but that's what I carry. You know, I see a lot of people that use like a dry bag for everything, a dry bag for their food, a dry bag for their little gear or whatever and stuff. But me, you know, I want something that's easy. I don't want to have to go into a dry bag each and every time I want a piece of gear. So if I don't see any reason to keep it, that it has to be in a dry bag, I won't put it in a dry bag. Like my food, you know, I try to buy things that won't get hurt if they get wet. They're already in like packaged containers, so they, you know, won't get wet. If there's any paper, any cardboard on it, I'll tear it off of it, so I don't have to worry about my food. All my other gear, like my little knives and saws and stuff that I keep back here, you know, there's no need for me to keep that in a dry bag. You know, if it gets wet, whatever, it gets wet. You know, it's going to get wet when I use it if it's ever raining or anything, so, you know, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm usually, I try to camp somewhere where I can put my kayak like right up to my camp or real close. So, you know, I just use this as the storage container, I guess you could call it, instead of just a bunch of different dry bags. Because, you know, I know in some places people have to haul their gear far from the kayak, but I generally like to do that. So, you know, if I did, then I may have everything in dry bags or one big dry bag to carry it all in, but I don't really do that. I do have my gear hanger that I hang up at camp, so I can hang whatever dry bags I do have on it, and it just keeps them all out of the dirt. But, you know, for the rest of the stuff, you know, I can hang some of it on the gear hanger too. That all has hooks and ways you can hang different little pieces of gear. So, you know, I don't need 1,000 dry bags. And dry bags are, you know, they cost a little bit extra money. I'd rather spend that money to go on another adventure. Wouldn't you? Right? You know, I guess maybe it would be handy to see how it all fits in there and what it all looks like when it's just thrown in there. It's not that bad, I promise. Just give me a minute. But if I could give a tip, maybe on like dry bag size, I know that's something that I was kind of confused with or wasn't really sure about when I started buying dry bag. Anything over 10 liters, if you get the bag full, you can't really get it in and out of the kayak hatches, so it's kind of pointless. So don't go above 10 liters, and anything below 5 liters is not really useful. And really, 5 liters is pretty small, but that's why I just use it for small things. The gear that I showed you in this video isn't a complete list. If you want to see my complete gear list, you can check out my gear video, or you can go to sailingandsuch.com and download my gear checklist and check it out there. That's really handy for me, so I don't forget stuff like you guys have seen in my adventures, but also hopefully handy for you. One thing I want to mention to you guys is I just got some Sailing and Such bumper stickers. That's what people have been asking about, and I've already shipped off, I don't know, maybe probably 10 or a dozen or so. So if you want one, go check it out at sailingandsuch.com. I'll have a link under this video if you're watching this on YouTube, and you can go to the link there and get yourself some Sailing and Such bumper stickers. They're really good stickers. Of course, I did research on them before I bought them to be sure they're like good in the outdoors and the sun and stuff. And they're supposed to be, they had excellent reviews over at stickermule.com. So it should be good. They're like 4 inches by 3 3/4, just under 3 3/4. No, 6 inches by just under 3 3/4. So they're perfect size to slap on your kayak or wherever you want. So go check out the new bumper stickers. If you're not already, hey, subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be more and more videos coming for kayak camping and just maybe a few other exciting adventures also, but mainly focused on kayak camping and just having a great time and making the most of your life. Because, hey, it's always an adventure. Why not make it an adventure? I'm telling you, it's always an adventure with Sailing and Such. Just watch my videos and you'll see how much of a fool and how crazy sometimes I can be. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this channel, like what we're doing here, go check out our Patreon. We'd love your support. But hey, the bumper stickers, get yourself a bumper sticker too and help support the channel, and get yourself some awesome swag. Yeah, swag. I guess it's swag. I really don't know what that word means. I heard somebody say that, or I've read it somewhere. Swag. Yeah, I think swag is like cool stuff that you wear. Yeah, well this may not be swag. Bling, let's call it bling. Kayak bling. There, booyah! Kayak bling is what the bumper sticker is. But hey, I might be thinking of some swag in my mind. I'm gonna like test something out because I like to wear cool stuff. I don't know about you, but I like to wear cool stuff, especially when I'm kayaking. And not only cool, but cool. Man, I am so cool, aren't I? Not really. Alright, hey, check out our Facebook page. Check us out. I just got a Snapchat. I'm Sailing and Such on Snapchat. I don't know how to work it, but if you have Snapchat, check me out on Snapchat. I'm going to try and figure it out. But hey, Instagram, Twitter, Sailing and Such. Facebook, Sailing and Such. YouTube, Sailing and Such. Sailing and Such all around. SailingandSuch.com. I could have picked a more tongue twister name, could I? Sailing and Such, Sailing and Such, Sailing and Such. That's not too bad. Anyways, I've got more videos coming. The future of Sailing and Such is going to be bright, so stick around. Hey, we're going to have a good time. I've got some great ideas coming up. They're going to make you guys think I am really crazy. But maybe I am. But crazy is fun. People like watching crazy. Why do you think Honey Boo Boo got so popular? I'm not comparing myself to Honey Boo Boo. At least I hope I'm not. But anyways, man, I'm just rambling. Maybe y'all like to watch me ramble. Because I ramble a lot. Alright. Sweet. I think this video's done.